like me when it's like really cold outside, except like times 200. Hibernators do a lot of work to stay warm and comfortable through the winter. And they really do a lot of work. We're going to be going through 3 different types of hibernators today, finding them, talking about them. And we'll be saying good morning to them because they do such a good job. But they all hibernate in their own special way, just like some people like to sleep with 20 blankets, some like to sleep with 1. You know, we're all a little different. But we're going to be walking down the trail today to find some fun special things. If you'd like to follow behind me and stay behind me, that'd be lovely. Make sure to keep track of everyone. And if you see any people walking on the trail with us, make sure to take a step to the side so that they can pass. But if you'll follow me, we'll start our adventure. Really tiny little frogs. We love them. They're super cute. I got a picture of one right here so that we have something to go off of. Oh, there's only a chance we might see one. It's still a little cold outside, but spring peepers like to wake up around March, just around this time when the ground starts to thaw. But spring peepers do something called brumation. It's like hibernation, but it starts with a B, and it's for reptiles and frogs and amphibians. Spring peepers are one of the first ones to wake up in the spring. That's why they're called spring peepers, is because they wake up and peep right away. But to brumate, they bury themselves under layers of leaves and snow. It's kind of, or they bury under leaves as a blanket, and then the snow falls on top of them to keep them warm. But what's special about them is that they can kind of freeze themselves. So they brumate not by preparing to stay warm, because reptiles can't keep hold of their own temperature. They kind of go around with what's around them. So spring peepers stay warm by freezing. They do something called colligative antifreeze. That's their special adaptation so that they don't freeze. They can go down to 21 degrees Fahrenheit without freezing. They do this, for the science people, they do this by adding extra solute to their blood, which is kind of like glucose. Sugar is one of them. They add extra glucose to their bloodstream. And then the cells shrink a little bit. The water goes out of the cells so that the water outside of the cells can freeze, but not the cell itself. So has anyone seen like a wood frog? Know what a wood frog does? Yeah, they're like these frogs that just completely freeze. They're like the ultra version of these. Wood frogs can go down to negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. But spring peepers can go down to 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So wood frogs would live where it's a little colder, but it's just a crazy, super cool adaptation that they do. That's what makes frogs so special throughout their hibernation or brumation. And that's how they stay warm throughout the winter. But in the spring, they just thaw out. That's all they do. They just, melt. And like I said, there's a chance we'd see one, but not super high. But if you want to keep an eye out with me, we're going to be keeping an eye out for hibernators as we walk. I do need a lot of help to make sure I can find them. They're kind of sneaky sometimes, but they like to wake up around marshy areas, kind of just like this, right by a water source. They like to bury themselves, and that's where they wake up, and they immediately go to the water source and start peeping. That's what they do. We're going to go to our next location now, but I'm going to ask you guys, so I heard the next one is something called a super hibernator. So we just went over brumation. This one's a super hibernator. I want you to think as we walk, what would make a hibernator super? What makes them like that? But if you'd like to follow me, we're going to go on the boardwalk. Make sure to, stay safe on the boardwalk, and if somebody comes by, let them pass. You'll follow me. We're getting into super hibernator territory now, so we're going to have to keep an extra eye out. Does anyone have any guesses on what makes a hibernator super? Super hibernator is something interesting in that they are not true hibernators, but they can stay asleep the entire time. But we are in super hibernator territory, so once we find one, I can tell you more about them. All right? Let me know if you see anything suspicious. Okay, let's go. See something suspicious? Where is it?
These two.
our black bear. Bears are super hibernators, and we love them for that. Like I said, what makes a hibernator super is that they can stay asleep throughout the entire winter. Unlike other true hibernators, they don't have to get up in the middle of the night. Has anyone ever gotten up in the middle of the night to go pee? Go to the bathroom? Yeah, everybody does. These guys don't. They stay several months without getting up to go to the bathroom. They are one of the only animals that can tolerate and handle that much waste in their system. It's actually toxic to most animals. It would kill any other animal. But bears, they're just a little special in that way. To prepare for hibernation, you guys have heard stuff about what bears do to hibernate, right? In the fall? Yeah, they eat like crazy. That is what helps them stay throughout the winter. And what's different about them too is that they don't drop that much in temperature. They drop by only like 10 degrees. Most other hibernators drop, like the spring beavers, drop to 21 degrees. These guys lower their heart rate to a couple beats per minute, and they only lower their temperature from like 90 to 80. But they do this by eating a whole bunch so that they can keep their body warm throughout the winter. It's a special phase called hyperphagia, and they'll eat 20,000 calories a day. Does anyone know how much approximately that would be? A lot.
2,000 calories a day a person.
I was gonna say, the average person is around, 2,000 calories a day. 20,000 calories is around 80 McDonald's cheeseburgers in one day. Yeah, that would be great, right? These guys mostly eat salmon and other things like that. Berries, they love berries. But bears usually hibernate under big logs, in caves, sometimes even under decks. And it's important to remember that they may be sleeping nearby. These guys wake up really easily, so if you know of a bear nearby that's hibernating, give them some quiet so that they can sleep soundly. Nobody likes to be woken up. Get them to the side here. Yeah, these guys are super special. All of that is what makes them super hibernators. Wait. She wants to tell me something. Yeah? Okay, Katie here, her name's Katie. She wanted me to let you know. She's super sweet. She wanted to remind you guys, again, try not to wake up sleeping bears because they don't like to be woken up. But she told me there's another hibernator nearby who kind of was bullying her a little bit and teasing her because he's a true hibernator and she's not. She's just a super hibernator. She just goes through something called a torpor, where she just kind of sleeps and still kind of stays within the normal range of a bear, but she doesn't really truly knock out like other true hibernators. But she wants us to let that guy know that that's no fun to tease. We're definitely going to do that when we see him. But everybody say good morning to Katie.
Good afternoon.
Oh, she loves to hear it. She wants to be left here. If we find any wild animals, it's important to leave them where we found them. She's going to go about her day. She's probably got some breakfast to eat. And we're going to walk to our next location. Yeah.
Question. So, the sow bear, delivers the cubs during the winter. Are the cubs hibernating or are they active and moving around while she's sleeping?
That's actually really interesting. They do hibernate with her sometimes. The mother bear doesn't fully hibernate though. She will, the cubs still need to nurse and to defecate and produce waste, so the mother will actually eat the waste so that they can't find her. So a mother and the cubs kind of have to stay awake through the winter. They're special in that way. Mother bears really go through a lot. They do some good work.
Yeah, I had seen something, it was really a long time ago, with some people from here doing bear research, and they crawled in the den, with the mother and cubs to do the measurements and whatever, and mentioned, that these that the sows would wake up, and I don't know if they were so groggy or what, but there was no safety issue about the researchers handling the cubs while the sow was right there and awake to some degree.
I know that they do tranquilize them usually so that it is safer, but when bears wake up, they are really groggy. So that's why it's kind of bad for them to wake up at the wrong time, is if they can't find food easily, if they have to set their body a little off, they can't just easily go back into hibernation. Unlike mother bears, they're just different in that way, but most other bears, they are really groggy.
So when, like this year, today it was really, really warm, and then it's going to go back down in the 30s and snow in another week or so. So does that ever cause them to try to come out and then they get stuck?
I'm not sure specifically with bears. I'm sure there are a lot of issues with, hibernators waking up a little too early, but I'd say most of them start waking up when the ground thaws, and after the ground thaws, it's not as likely for it to freeze up again. Like right now, the ground's still frozen. Not everything's gone. It is going to snow again, so hopefully, those spring peepers I said we might see, hopefully we won't see them so that they so that they survive.
Do the black bears down south, like in Alabama, where it's warm, I think all the time, do they hibernate?
As far as I'm aware, no. I don't know exactly what triggers them into hyperphagia to start eating like that, but I know some just don't hibernate.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Remember to keep an eye out. We gotta look out for this bully, right? Our bully hibernator. I know he can be a little sneaky, so we're gonna be walking a bit to try to find him. There might be some icy patches. Penguins don't hibernate, but I'd recommend walking like a penguin to try to stay safe on the ice, or you can walk around, whatever works for you. But if you'd like to go follow me, we'll go to our next spot. I've been having a hard time finding the guy. I'm a true adventurer, but because of that, sometimes I have to put my mind in the mindset of what I'm looking for, right? So we're gonna pretend that we're hibernators just for a couple seconds here, help find him a little better. The question is, where would you hibernate? I want you to walk a little bit off the path and find a spot where you think would be a good hibernation spot. That depends. You could imagine the objects were bigger if you wanted. Okay. We got, what have you got there? A rock? We got a rock. That is a good option. There are a lot of hibernators that hibernate under rocks. What have you got over there?
I was thinking like the down logs and stuff maybe.
Down logs is another really good one. That seems like it would be a nice blanket over the winter. I definitely think so. What's over there?
We have the forester definition of CWD. Nice leaves that we have a nice little entrance under the long branches.
A perfect little burrow you got there. That seems like it'd be really good for hibernation. You got the same thing over there? Nice little branches, keeping them warm. And I'll ask one more person. What did you find? Oh, down logs and branches are really, really good options. There is a large chance, if you'd like to come back here, you're welcome. There is a large chance that the fellows we're looking for might be nearby a log, because they make some nice places to hang out for animals. A lot of animals like to hang out by logs.
How about the woodpecker holes?
That is another good option. I heard you talk talking about squirrels earlier. Squirrels will build full nests, but places like that, some animals will hoard their food in spots like that for a winter.
Hypothetically, squirrel nest.
Yeah, I'm so bad at looking for those.
I think it's behind the tree.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, squirrels will store some food over the winter, but they don't hibernate, so we can say good morning to them, but they've been awake this whole time. We got everybody, yeah? Okay. If you'll follow me, remember, it might be in your brain. Let me know if you see anything crazy again. This guy here,
Oh, a beaver.
this is a groundhog. Yeah, he's got a little tail there. I wondered that too, honestly. I actually
Too furry, I guess.
a little hard to tell, yeah, but
I
I have a
just saw
picture.
that too.
The cute little teeth, exactly.
Yeah.
You can see them there too. I love groundhogs, they're so cute. But this guy's a little mean, but that's okay. You know, we'll still wish him a good morning anyway in a moment. Groundhogs are our next hibernators. These guys, true hibernators. I don't remember if I said, what makes a hibernator a true hibernator? Yeah?
They don't get up.
Actually, that's super hibernators that don't get up. They do get up. True hibernators drop their body temperature a lot. These guys go from 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 30 degrees Fahrenheit over the winter. But they have to get up multiple times throughout the winter. I think it's like every few days to go to the bathroom. They build themselves complex little burrows to hibernate in and to live in. They'll have a little bedroom, they'll have a hibernation bedroom, and they'll have a bathroom. So they'll hibernate, they'll get up every few days, use the bathroom, and then go back to sleep. But their heart rate drops to like a few times an hour, and their body temperature drops a lot. Not quite as much as spring keepers because they're not reptiles. They're not quite as capable of doing that. They're not amphibians, my bad. And they are really special in the way that they can drop their temperature like that. There is only one true hibernator in Wisconsin. There aren't actually too many. There are some hibernators, but a lot of animals in Wisconsin stay awake. But around February, these guys wake up even more. And anyone guess why? Around February, yeah? Groundhog Day. They don't actually do it for Groundhog Day, but that's where Groundhog Day came from. Is the males will wake up every little bit in February up until March. They wake up around early March, right now. In February, the males will stick their little heads out their holes and look around to see if there are any other males in the area. They're very territorial, so they want to make sure their land is their land, no other burrows nearby. So that's why they stick their little heads up. It doesn't really tell us much more about when spring will be, but it does tell us that at least it's February. We do know it's February when they stick their heads out, so good for them. But it is the only the males that do that, so that's why it's Phil and not another groundhog that does it. But we went over ruminators, super hibernators, and our true hibernators. First, we gotta tell this guy it's not nice to tease. Everybody say it's not nice to tease. It's not nice to tease at all. Even though he's a true hibernator, he has to get up multiple times to go to the bathroom, and the bear doesn't. So, bear's pretty cool for that. But let's say good morning to our groundhog anyway. He still deserves some props, even if he's a little mean sometimes. We all have our moments. I'm gonna place him back here, because all animals like to be left where we found them. They like to burrow in sandy hills, though. So kind of an area just like this. I believe the soil is sandy. Yeah, they would be burrowing somewhere near here, though they're less likely to choose wooded areas, but this guy's just a little special. We support him for that. We're gonna head back to home base now. I appreciate your guys' help, but we're gonna head back and then go over everything we've learned. Yeah? And if you'll follow me, there's a little bit more ice But there's no other path, so we'll just walk safe.
Do you know what porcupines hibernate?
I don't. I need to do more research on what hibernates.
Familiar.
Yeah, a lot of them. There's a lot of different types too. I think so. Do porcupines eat meat? No.
No.
Okay.
They eat bone.
They eat bone. Porcupines are fun.
Calcium.
Yeah. I know bats kind of hibernate-ish, except they can change their body temperature like on command. What is it called? Hibernaculum. Yeah, there's a lot of other types of hibernation we're not going over today, so if you want to look at all the beautiful types of ways that animals sleep throughout the winter, it's countless. There's a lot to learn. But yeah, we'll head back to home base now, and then we can discuss further. Okay, everybody, you did a lovely job on our adventure. I'm so proud of every one of you. But before we leave, I want to make sure that we got everything, straightened out. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Does anyone remember how a spring peeper hibernates? What is it called? They do go under the leaves and snow. A lot of reptiles and amphibians do. It's called brumation, where they kind of just freeze. What does a bear do to hibernate? There's two different words for it. Yeah?
Torpor.
Torpor. They go into a torpor, and they are super hibernators for that. Super proud of them for that. And how do groundhogs hibernate? They're true hibernators. They drop their body temperature a ton. And they kind of just stay that way throughout the winter, except to get up and to go potty. Like the rest of us have to do, Do you have any questions in particular about any of the animals or about hibernation? No? Yeah.
When a groundhog wakes up from hibernation, does it also eat or does it just go to the bathroom?
It just goes to the bathroom. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is the main reason the food source? That, like going way back why they started having to do that? Is it based on getting the food?
I feel like there's a lot of factors that would go into it. One of which might be just hiding from predators. It's kind of hard to hide in a blank white landscape. Other options is probably food. It's less likely to find food, and it's just better for... Not every animal can stay awake. There would not be enough resources throughout the winter for that. So some have to bite the bullet and, in a matter of speaking, and sleep throughout the winter. Yeah.
It's also because staying warm takes a lot of energy, so if they can lower their body heat, they use less energy.
Exactly. That's why bears have to eat so much before they hibernate. It's because they burn so much just staying warm throughout the winter. Even though technically they're too big to warm their bodies back up. So that's why they're just in a torpor. They have to keep their body warm throughout the winter because they can't just get up and go if they were to drop their temperature by like 60 degrees. Any other questions?
So then, in comparison, then the woodchuck is able to bring their body temperature up from 30 to 80 or 90, and that couldn't. Okay.
Yeah, bats are even faster in how they do it.
Of course, they're so small.
Yeah.
Not as much to...
A lot of the time for smaller animals, their body temperature is way higher. Even for dogs, a large dog has like a body temperature of 98, and a tiny dog has a body temperature of like 110. It's just based on how much energy they have to burn to keep the bigger body warm. Any other questions? Well, again, you guys did fantastic. We learned a lot, and we gave some animals their props for making it through the winter by saying good morning. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your spring.